This three.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Frank police in Lawrence, Kansas arrested a man twice in one day for walking down the street naked.
I'm Frank Isola. Kornheiser made it to Kansas. There you go.
Well, see, I
Rock,
said walking,
Jayhawk.
Walking. That's the only way you can get there.
He doesn't like
scared of bridges,
on.
scared of the air, scared of mountains.
And apparently scared of clothes.
Scared of sea. No, the clothes, I don't know what happened to those. He might have just
mostly golf
those
clothes.
on the way.
From everything I
Golf
hear.
clothes, you think so? Welcome to BTI with Tony continuing to crisscross America with no clothing. I am pleased to be joined by our great friend from the New York Daily News, Mr. Frank Isola. Yeah.
Big and proud today.
We begin with an unfamiliar name reigniting a familiar theme. A New York Jets rookie named Jamal Adams, while seated next to Commissioner Roger Goodell at a New York Jets fan forum, had a cringeworthy answer when asked about CTE.
If I had a perfect place to die, I would die on the field. I would be at peace. Literally. I would be at peace. And that's not a lie.
Oh, Frank, the kid tried to explain himself this afternoon. He said his comments were all about his passion for the game. Did he need to clarify? Did he need to take heat for what he said?
How about the people clapping?
Yeah.
You know who might have been clapping?
Yeah.
The coaching staff, the GM, because that's who likes to hear that stuff from football players, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes on the football field. You know what? I'm going to give him an out just from this standpoint. He's a young kid. He's talking to an audience, and he wants people to know how committed he is to the sport.
Right.
But in this time that we're living in with all the studies now about CTE and all these football players, retired players, and the brain damage
Guys
that they
retiring in their 20s.
real early.
Yeah.
And that's what's the scary part of it. But I think with him sitting there, a young player, his father played in the NFL for a little bit.
Seasons,
so I think he's speaking to an audience, number one.
An amen chorus.
And it's also, this is what he knows that they want to hear, that I'm a young player. I'm willing to do whatever it takes on the football field.
I'm willing to give him the same pass because at 21, I start thinking about all the 21-year-old guys I have know now, and was.
Yep.
And we all think to some degree we're invincible, and football players think they're absolutely invincible. Guys walking down K Street outside the studio at 21 think they're invincible. And I get that. And you go, okay, let me not just jump on this kid. The people who disgusted me were the people applauding.
Yeah.
Whether they were actual fans or, like you say, staffers who want to hear that. But it speaks to the culture of football. No matter how many tests are out there, no matter how many results come in, no matter how large the percentage of people who have played football who have suffered at some point from CTE, no matter how large that percentage grows, there is still a chorus of voices that says, this is how you prove yourself as a man. This is how you show how tough you are, and we'll die rather than go the other way. That's the culture of
football. And there's an inherent risk that I think the players all understand. I like what Martellus Bennett said, a guy that's been in the league for a while. He said, look, football's a great sport, but I'm not going to die, on a field. So I think the players all know.
I ain't dying for this blank.
Exactly.
He said, I hope all these young cats who are willing to die for the game of football find a higher purpose in life. Marty Bennett, thank you.
Yeah, he's not 21.
And he's not 75. He's not an old man. He's a guy who's in the game now, and he understands.
He went through the battles before.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. Texas head coach Bill O'Brien has a long-standing rule about starting rookie quarterbacks. But after just a few days of training camp, Deshaun Watson has O'Brien thinking of breaking his own rule. O'Brien says that Watson is, quote, ahead of any rookie I've ever been around. Now, before you go too crazy, some of those rookie quarterbacks O'Brien has worked with include Ryan Mallett, Brian Hoyer, Tom Savage. Watson, though, a little different case. He's the 12th overall pick. So, Michael, would you roll with Watson as your week one starter?
You know what? I don't think I would. I'd let Tom Savage start. I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm a Deshaun Watson fan, and I would hope that my franchise, the Chicago Bears, would have taken Watson as opposed to another guy.
They moved all the way up.
And three starters in draft with him. So I like Deshaun Watson. I think he will be the starter, and as a rookie, and he probably will earn that. And guys have started as rookies lately and done very well. I mean, we can look to Seattle. We can look back to RG3, who had like a 9-6 record as a starter. Yep. We can look at Luck. I mean, all these guys, you can play a rookie and be successful.
Dak Prescott.
My goodness, Dak Prescott just last year.
Dan Marino made it to a Super Bowl.
But why throw Watson out there when you don't have to? When you've got this team that's supposedly complete, you can depend on your defense, a little bit on your running game, your special teams, and let O'Brien work what's supposed to be his magic with Watson.
You know what? I'm going to start him, and you mentioned some of those guys, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, RG3. You can win with a rookie quarterback, and to me, this guy is a winner. There's a reason they moved up from 20th to 12th. Here's a guy in college, and I understand it's college, but he went 32-3 as a starter. He won a national championship.
Twice.
Thank you. He beat Nick Saban in Alabama. So to me, the kid has a special quality. Now, the one thing that concerns me a little bit, 76 touchdowns his last 2 seasons, 30 interceptions, which is high for college, so he tends to take risks.
Are we talking about something being coachable there?
Absolutely. And Bill O'Brien is supposed to be the quarterback whisperer.
Yes.
So, and if you go back to last year's playoffs, remember, they were only down against New England 17-13, and Brock Osweiler imploded in the second half. So you know what? They have a win-now team. I love the fact that they moved up in the draft. I'm starting Deshaun Watson. If he has a good preseason, absolutely. Why not?
Why put the
There's a precedent there.
There is, but you don't have to follow it. If he's that good a quarterback coach, and so both of us are saying let's have a little pressure on the coach, then why need coach up Savage?
I moved up to get him. If he's good enough, I'm playing him week 1.
Okay. I'm rooting for this kid, by the way. Rockets GM Daryl Morey had some unique thoughts about the MVP award yesterday. He thinks basketball might be better served if there was no such award. Morey ruminated about the voting process, the criteria used. He told the Crossover, quote, "I don't know if this is a good process. You could argue for eliminating the awards altogether." Close quote. He's talking about individual awards. Frank, is that the solution? Just ban the #1 thing fans argue about all season long?
So does that mean that Mike D'Antoni he has to give back his Coach of the Year award? Because he got that by the same media that voted Westbrook 1, which I did, Harden 2. By the way, I'm now allowed to reveal my votes. The NBA has given me clearance.
I did mine all along.
But, and I understand what Daryl Morey is saying.
I do too.
Steph Curry was the MVP 2 seasons ago because his team had the best record. This past season, they give it to Westbrook, even though Harden had the better record. But we know how it works. Because Durant left, everyone felt badly. And he averaged a triple-double. So he had an historic season in a year that Kevin Durant left the team. So there was sympathy, and he had the numbers.
Just talk about precedent. And Steph Curry won the award because he was the best player on the best team. But Daryl, and I love Daryl, and this is I have to clear my baggage as a friend. I love the conversation that he sort of sets off with this, because you can look at the criteria. You can also look at sort of who's voting, how seriously people take this. We vote. We do. Daryl Morey, and I'll reveal this. Now, he's one of the people, and there are many, that I call when I fill out a ballot initially, and I say, talk me out of something here. Talk me into something. Am I being an idiot? And luckily, I have a guy like Daryl Morey who is so smart to tell me, you know, I don't know about this. I don't know about that. You might want to rethink. That's the process I go through, and a lot of us go through that. Daryl's great to raise all that, but this is what the league wants, to be talked about every single day for 12 months.
Absolutely.
It's the goal of every sports league, and the MVP debate leads the way in basketball.
The voting, #1, is subjective. And I will say this, too, about everybody wanted the players to vote. The players did not vote LeBron unanimously to the All-Star team. You know what knuckleheads voted LeBron unanimously to the All-Star team? The media.
We did.
Not the players.
That's right. Well, I don't think Daryl is casting a sort of aspersions on any one group. He's just looking at the whole thing and saying, does the stew taste good enough? And it's subjective. You know?
I had Harden up until maybe February, and then I started thinking Westbrook.
But you want the award. This is fun, right? We agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he, like you said, continued the conversation.
He has.
All right, folks, it's apparently open season on LeBron James, or maybe open off-season. Steph Curry mocked LeBron's workout videos on the dance floor. Of course, Kyrie Irving no longer wants to play with him. And now we have Kevin Durant, who outplayed LeBron in the NBA Finals, responding to a follower on his YouTube message board who said that, quote, LeBron is better than you. It's just facts. Look at the way he spelled facts. Durant responded with just one word, nah. Now, Durant, like LeBron, can be a tad sensitive, so is his response something or nothing here?
It's nothing. He could have been saying nah to the fact that dude was a dope and couldn't spell facts. F-A-C-T. Couldn't get that right.
That's why.
No, this is nothing, because Kevin Durant should feel that way. Kevin Durant is an honorable mention. Kevin Durant's multiple, you know, he's an MVP. He's a multiple scoring champ. He's a multiple first-time all-league player. Kevin Durant's not sitting there looking at LeBron thinking, oh, my God, lovingly. And nor should Steph Curry, who we mentioned in the previous story. So, no, Kevin Durant, whether he was saying nah to the dope who can't spell or nah because the dope thinks there's some big gap between the two, good for Kevin Durant.
All right. Let me give you this one, though. All right. Kevin Durant clearly reestablished himself, in my opinion, as the second-best player in the NBA with his performance in the NBA Finals. But let's look at it from LeBron's standpoint. In the past 10 days or so, Kyrie Irving asked to be traded, and everyone says, well, it's because he doesn't want to be with LeBron anymore. You got Steph Curry mocking him, Now you have Kevin Durant. So if you're LeBron, you always feel like whenever I lose, not only do the fans, the media come after me, I now have opposing players, including two guys that beat me in the finals. You think that ticks him off?
I hope. I would never come after LeBron James. There's no reason for anybody to go after LeBron James except his peers, except his rivals. And you know what? You know what you can do to keep anybody from coming after you? Don't lose. Beat them.
Well, they added Kevin Durant. That's why.
It. Anybody mocking Magic?
No.
Anybody mock Jordan? Anybody mock Bill Russell?
He went after them.
So, you know what? Then you got to win. You got to come back now and win. You don't do it by posting things. You don't do it with, you do it by winning.
That's the new age athlete now, and he's the king of social media.
You know what?
LeBron.
Then they come after you.
That's why I'm waiting to see the next thing he posts on Instagram
well, but you know
or
what?
Twitter.
If he wins, I don't care what age you're in. They can't come after you. Because all you got to do, who pointed to the scoreboard? What? Yeah. Then there's no coming after you at weddings. There's no getting traded. Get me out of here. There's none of that. I'd like to say we're moving to baseball, but the Yanks and the Sox won't let us. Even members of baseball royalty are using basketball terms in their new public back and forth. Yesterday, Red Sox GM Dave Dombrowski, in the wake of the Yanks' acquisition of Sonny Gray, called them the Warriors. And that's in response to Yankees GM Brian Cashman in the offseason after Boston acquired Chris Sale, calling the Red Sox the Warriors of baseball. Frank, do you at least like these teams barking at one another once again?
I guess that makes the Cubs the Cavs and technically the Mets the Knicks in this whole scenario. You know, it's great to have both of these franchises. You know, they have such a great rivalry. And if you go back, starting in 1998, there was an 8-year stretch where these two teams finished first and second in the division. That has not happened since 2009. Now, we all know where this back and forth started. Cashman said it, obviously, about the Red Sox when they got Chris Sale. It goes all the way back to Larry Lucchino calling the Yankees the evil empire. I think it's like a fun byplay between the two general managers. In this case, the Yankees are not the favorite. You know, if the Yankees had Chris Sale, if they went out and got Justin Verlander yesterday, which would have been a George Steinbrenner type of move, then maybe I say that. Not going out and getting Sonny Gray. Come on.
I would say let's not make Sonny Gray Sandy Koufax, which is what a lot of people tried to do in yesterday's trade deadline discussions. Look, this is not even, they didn't use the term. What using the Warriors means they thought super team.
Super team.
Neither one of them is a super team. One is 9 games over, one is 10 games over. I'm talking about over being 500. They're okay. They're aight. Yep. Neither one of these is great. So until they go out and they have wars against each other, at least, forget October. How about September? Until one team chases another down, until you have a single playoff game that creates the sort of historic, you know, reigniting of the rivalry. Calm it down.
By the way, 3-game series starting next Friday in the Bronx. And as you know, the real warriors right now of baseball are the Dodgers. That's a super team.
You think so?
They have the record. They have the record to prove it.
We're going to get a bet going right here. So let's
Admit
take a break. Because I know who's wearing the ring right now. I think the Dodgers. Coming up, everyone seems to be making the Dodgers the heavy World Series favorite. I'm going to tell you why that is such flawed thinking.
Speaking of super, and Beyonce reportedly has interest in buying the Rockets. What kind of owner would she make?
Is she going to be a better owner than her husband was? He was an owner.
Yes. They already have better players.
Interruption is brought to you by McDonald's. Enjoy any size soft drinks for only $1 at participating McDonald's.
Time to fill in some blanks in What's the Word. Let's get the first one from the producer over the loudspeaker.
It will be blank if the Dodgers don't win the World Series.
Well, Frank, people are going crazy on this now because the Dodgers are so hot. They're historically hot, and I understand that. And they make this deal yesterday for you. Darvish and Clayton Kershaw should be back with just a midsummer's rest. And it all sounds great. But you know what it is? It's par for the course. Because a couple of years ago, the year I think the Royals won it, the Nationals, they just have to win. They got the best this and the best that, the deepest rotation. Baseball is not like the NBA where you can just pick out a couple of teams and say you know they're going to make it. It's par for the course if they don't win.
Why can't you admit that they're a super team?
And
it would be disastrous if they don't win the World Series.
Whom?
First of all, look what they haven't won. They won since '88, and I understand different layers now of the playoffs, so it's much harder. But they made a big deal, solidified their pitching staff. Look at what they've done. They're 74-31 their first 105 games. That's the best record in baseball after 105 games since the 44 Cardinals, the team that you grew up rooting for.
Let's not go back that far.
Why not?
These Seattle Mariners won 116 games. Did they even get to the World Series?
Didn't have the pitching like this. Disastrous if they don't win. They are built to win this year.
Kershaw's going to go 1-4 and 7 a couple more times.
with that.
How's that working? How's that work so far? You said they haven't won 30 years.
I want my best pitcher pitching 3 times. I'm okay with that.
And I want to play against your best pitcher
You gotta get
because my
first.
Cubbies beat him last year doing that.
Beat Milwaukee first.
And they got a better team anyway. What's next? You got me all discombobulated.
A one-legged Michael Jordan would blank in a game of one-on-one against LeVar Ball.
Michael Jordan, if they just put him on a board and he had no legs, would
He's gonna just
dominate LeVar Ball, who is such a nuisance now. Everybody says, oh, he's a marketing genius. No, he's not. He's a guy who behaves like a jerk, who's done a good job with his kids. So what? He's the only father who's done a good job with his kids. Like, that makes him a national hero. There's too many microphones and notebooks stuck in front of LeVar Ball's mouth. I blame this network and Fox Sports for doing most of that dirty work. It's ridiculous. Michael Jordan would trash him.
So this is why I love LeVar Ball. He crossed the line when he went after Michael Jordan. That's what's got you fired up. Here's what's going to happen. With one leg, Michael Jordan is going to stumble against LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball's in pretty good shape. Remember he took his shirt off in that wrestling match? He did average 2 points in college.
John Cena's in great shape. It doesn't mean he can beat Michael Jordan in the game of basketball.
And I do understand.
3-2.
And I do understand Jordan used to beat the Knicks with one hand tied behind his back. But you know what? LeVar is winning because everyone keeps responding to him. He has Michael Jordan talking about him.
Why do people keep responding to him? Who do you
keep
blame?
asking him questions.
ESPN, Fox Sports. That's who to blame.
I want on record. I'm not criticizing ESPN. I'm in no position to do that. That's Michael Wilbon. I'm not doing it. What's next?
Beyonce would make a blank owner of the Rockets.
She would make, and by the way, this comes up because there's a report now that Beyonce would like to get a group and buy the Rockets, who are for sale.
She was in a group once.
Les Alexander, that wouldn't be great if Destiny's Child bought.
There you go.
She would make a floor-tilting owner because everybody in the arena, even with big stars on the court, even with the beard, would you rather look at the beard or Beyonce? Of course, the answer is Beyonce. It's going to tilt the floor. It's unfair. Beyonce, well, of course.
She would make a fierce owner, Sasha Fierce. And now I know why Carmelo, for weeks, keeps saying that he wants to play with the Houston Rockets. How great would it be if Beyonce is Carmelo's boss, Chris Paul's boss, and also James Harden's new boss? And if she can get the money together, it can be good, and maybe they go all the way and they put a ring on it. You knew you were waiting for me to say something like that. You were waiting for me to say that.
I'm waiting to figure out what to do with Jay-Z, because he's no longer affiliated with Brooklyn, right? He's done with Brooklyn.
He cashed out and made a fortune. By the way, though, the one thing about that, when Jay-Z was the owner of the Nets, everyone painted as these guys are going to flock to Brooklyn to play for Jay-Z. Didn't work out. But Beyonce's a little different.
What's next?
Last one. Klay Thompson would make a blank pitcher.
Klay Thompson, of course, threw out the first pitch. And this is what guys do now. When you have a little bit of celebrity, you throw out the first pitch. His brother's a major leaguer. Now, I think that's pretty good. And he kind of sort of threw from the rubber, which is what you're supposed to do when I threw my ceremony.
There you go.
Pitch. So Klay Thompson would make a celebrity pitcher. He's fine at that level. He's not going to go out there and challenge his brother. Not anymore. No. This ain't the backyard when they were 12 and 10.
Yeah, he would make an unsung pitcher. I'm going to give you a couple reasons why. But first of all, Klay Thompson reached the plate. You did not reach the plate, number one.
Splitter.
He looks like no one.
I threw from the rubber. Did he go from the rubber?
Yes, he did.
He did not.
And he also,
did not.
compared to Josh Jackson of the Phoenix Suns, he looks like Nolan Ryan up there.
Wow, he does.
But here would be Klay Thompson. Just like on the Warriors, he'd be an end-of-the-rotation guy. He'd be terrific. He'd keep his mouth shut. Everyone else would get all the attention, and Klay Thompson would be the one guy that we could constantly rely on. Unsung, just like he is on the basketball court.
Look like a pitcher. So many of these
He's an athlete.
They don't play baseball. They grew up, they play basketball, they play soccer, they don't play baseball, which is...
Yeah. Great athletes, though.
Awful.
Tremendous athlete. You didn't reach the plate.
Is it. I threw a splitter. Hit the top of the plate. I threw from the rubber. Let's take one last break. Don't talk about the jersey. Still to come, Bill Belichick kicks 2 players out of camp.
And is Usain Bolt right to call out runners for doping? Usain Bolt. Love him.
I love Bolt. I can't wait to see him.
Those locos. Pardon the Interruption is brought to you by Metro PCS and its nationwide 4G LTE network.
It's happy time, people. Happy 69th birthday, Cliff Branch. Listen up, millennials. Branch, for my money, is the most underrated of all the great Raiders. He and Fred Biletnikoff were so small yet fearless. There was no limit to the hits they took running routes, and yet Branch averaged 17 yards a catch for his career, more than any active receiver in the NFL other than Deshaun Jackson.
Did you know, as a college player, Colorado returned 8 kickoffs for touchdown at the time?
I did not.
Number 1 in the NCAA.
Did not know that. The guy was so great. Number 21, check him out. A not-so-happy anniversary for Rafael Palmeiro. On this day 12 years ago, you were suspended 10 days for positive steroid testing. And that test came only 4 months after Palmeiro famously shook his finger at Congress while denying any use of banned substances. He finished with 3,020 hits and 569 home runs, but was mostly done after that suspension.
You know, he once won a Gold Glove playing 28 games at first base. And I understand he's a great fielder.
All
28 games, though?
And no Hall of Fame either. Who knows if he'll ever get there. Happy trails to Yohan Moncada and Willie Garcia. The White Sox, who traded off damn near their entire team for prospects, lost 2 more players last night in this outfield collision. Ouch. Moncada, who the White Sox got for Chris Sale, suffered a bruised knee, and Garcia took that knee to the head, and he's on the 7-day concussion DL.
This was absolutely horrific to see.
It really
was. I don't know if 7 days is going to be okay.
Man. No errors today. We're running out of show. Let's run through the big finish. Julian Edelman, Stephon Gilmore got in a fight, thrown out of Patriots practice. Is that a big deal?
No, it's training camp. There's always fights in training camp. Seahawks signed Cam Chancellor to a contract extension worth $25 million guaranteed. Good deal?
The Legion of Boom gets 30% of their payroll. That's huge in Seattle. Usain Bolt pleaded for runners to stop doping. Will it help, Frank?
No, it's never going to help. And they're pleading for Usain to stop running. Gio Gonzalez lost a no-hit bid in the bottom of the ninth. You think Kornheiser was awake to see it end?
He's on Long Island. He's waiting for a stamped postcard. It's tough for him. Last one, Bruce Arians says he won't play any starters Thursday night in the Hall of Fame game against the Cowboys.
I'm
okay with that?
I'm fine. Thursday's the first game?
Thursday's the Hall of Fame? What happened to the weekend game?
Hopefully the turf is okay. Hey. All right, we're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Isola.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcast.
Canadian, great Olympic country.
Oh,
unbelievable
he's backsliding.
country.